which stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
A moment of silence for the men and women, the armed forces, our first responders, our veterans, those fighting the good fight in Ukraine, those suffering from military conflict in the Middle East. Also, special congratulations to new Pope Leo, and may he serve his public and his mission properly. Blessings to him.
Amen.
Thank you. Katie, the American Creed.
This is the American's Creed by William Tyler Page. I believe in the United States
of America as a government of the people, by the people, for the people.
Whose just
Powers are derived from the consent of the government. Sovereign states.
Perfect union, one and separate,
established
upon the
principles of freedom, equality, justice, and humanity,
for which American patriots sacrificed
their lives and fortunes.
I therefore believe it is my duty to my country to love it, to support its constitution, to obey its laws, to respect its flag, and defend it against all enemies. Great. Thank you. Okay.
Nice to hear.
And have anybody call a name, Katie?
Don't believe so.
Okay.
I believe we have
All
Sal not here, though.
Yep, Sal's right there.
Where is he?
Okay. So I could ask all the council members if we could move the mics a little closer to us.
Yes, glad to. No word on. I'll move it over anytime you
He'll ask for it.
you just say the word.
Okay.
He's going to make a statement first.
Okay.
All right. Okay.
Do we have anybody?
Okay. Paul, do we have anybody? Oh, Sal?
Mr. Mayor, we have Elizabeth Halton.
Sure. Elizabeth Holton, 96 Lanesville Road, New Milford, obviously. Good evening. My name is Elizabeth Holton, and I want to begin tonight by thanking you for listening to our concerns at your last meeting and for your vote to encourage the Board of Finance to reconvene. While that effort did not come to fruition, I deeply appreciate your willingness to take action. Tonight, I'm here once again to remind you why we have gathered. We are here speaking for the more than 3,000 students who attend our public schools. These are students for who, most part, won't get a say in the decision that affects the schools, but they will feel the impact of those decisions every day. These are the students who come to school eager to learn, spend time with their friends. The students who look forward to breakfast at school because there might not be food at home. The students whose families are going through difficult times, like divorce, who rely on the consistency of a classroom for stability. They are students battling anxiety who know they can trust their teacher or counselor for support. Students who are new to our country, learning English for the first time and depending on their bilingual teacher to understand and connect. Students who struggle with reading and receive vital supports from interventionists and special education teachers. Students learning to communicate with the help of technology. When I became a parent, I was told it takes a village. As a teacher in this district, I am part of that village, a community that lifts up every child, every family. We work together to support not just our students, but our parents too. And you, as members of town council, our town's leaders, you are also part of that village. You have the power to ensure that every child receives the support and education that they deserve. You have a responsibility to these students because they are the future of our town. My hope is that when this budget fails the vote, you will reflect on how you can better support our village. You will reinstate the money that was removed from our budget because the children are depending on us. Thank you.
Thank you. Sal?
Ms. Duran Cora.
Duran Koval, yeah. Okay. Hi, Duran Koval, 13 Colonial Drive, Bethel, Connecticut. I am a town employee. I'm a kindergarten teacher at Hill and Plain. I don't have anything formally prepared tonight, actually. I wanted to thank you guys again for your support in urging the Board of Finance to go back to discuss rescission of the $1.6 million cut. That is very appreciated. The other thing I wanted to quickly, I jotted some notes, quickly talk about, school is much different these days than it was 4 years ago, 5 years ago, definitely 10 years ago. I've taught now 29 years. It is so much different. I have bounced around grades a little bit. I've taught every grade except 11th, and it is immensely different. I'm now in kindergarten. The needs of these kindergartners coming in, you would not believe. 10 years ago, a kindergartner, you tell them to do something, they would do it no problem. Now, you get no. You get heels dug in, kicking, screaming, and dare I say, shoes thrown at you. I am being honest. You get body slamming against you. You get hurt. The needs are great. Dr. Parlato is one of the most amazing women that we have been honored to work under. She's just an amazing superintendent. She's transparent. She is a leader with direction. She leads with heart. She has the student at the forefront in her mind and in everything she plans. I believe the budget that she has put forward has the student in the forefront. I don't believe there is excess there. The budget she put forward, the budget that the Board of Ed unanimously approved, I fully believe in that budget. There's social emotional needs that are so great in our building, and I'm assuming in the other buildings as well. I only know the one that I'm in. Those needs are there. I invite you to call me. Have a conversation with me. I will have that conversation with you. There are things that I don't want on public record, but I will have the conversation with you any day. Call me, please. I would very much value the opportunity to have a conversation. This forum does not allow us to converse. So please give me a call. Come on down, see the classroom, see what we're dealing with. Facilities alone, I have, 19 computers, 3 outlets. That doesn't work. Fire marshal is not very happy with that either. There are things that need to be kept up in this district as well. The greatest investment this town really can make, and the taxpayers can make, is in education. And historically, we keep cutting. And I know that there's a discrepancy in what we see as a cut. Yes, we're getting more money than we did last year, but with inflation, it is less. So it doesn't go as far. Please, when you guys, if you get the budget back, and I'm really hoping you will, please restore it to its full capacity. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Barsick?
Hi, I'm Julia Tabersack, 2 Docks Way, New Milford, Connecticut. I am not a New Milford educator, but I am a parent and a taxpayer and a resident here in New Milford. I am a teacher in another district. I'm going to keep this pretty short. You're going to hear a lot of the same things, and so we talked a little bit. We do really value your time, and we have talked a lot about what your responsibilities are to us, but we have a responsibility to, as citizens, as a community, and we've been trying really hard to have our voices heard and to do a big show of support to show that we really do want to invest our tax dollars in the education of and our public school system. And we feel like we have been heard by this town council, and we just really wanted to come together as a community, all different political backgrounds, all different interests. Not all of us are teachers here. Some of us are parents. Some of us are just people who really value education. But we just wanted to say thank you for hearing us, and we are really, really hopeful that if the Board of Finance does not restore a good portion of the funding, if not all of the funding that the Board of Ed asked for. I was really impressed that the Board of Ed was able to come together in a really bipartisan manner and have a consensus around this budget. It was a really responsible budget. We are reasonable people who are ready to invest in our money in education, who are ready to use our voices to let you know that that's what we want. So I'm just going to ask that everybody who is here today to kind of say the same thing, that we're counting on you. If the Board of Finance does not restore the funding, there's a reasonable common ground where we're not taking a chainsaw of almost $2 million. That is an extreme cut. That is not a reasonable cut. It's extremely unreasonable. So we're hoping that if there is not some common ground found, if the Board of Finance does not do the right thing and restore the Board of Ed's budget, that you will be willing to call a meeting and to override that decision and to take matters into your own hands. And I think a lot of people here are here to ask you to do the same thing and to thank you for listening to our voices and to the public outcry against these very, very extreme cuts. So I'm just going to ask if you're here to say, please, 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 if the Board of Finance does not do the right thing, please do the right thing. So if you would stand, if that is what you're here to say tonight, we can save you guys all some time. You've been listening to us for a long time and many, many minutes over the last couple of weeks. So hopefully this will kind of show that we're all here to say the same thing. And thank you again for what you're doing to support the people that have elected you.
Katie?
Okay, item number 4, I'd like to move we approve items 4A and 4B.
So moved.
And we have a second, or a second. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you.
Item number 5, I'd like to move that we approve 5A, donations to the public library, and 5B, Parks and Rec. These are monetary donations. Library is a quilt, a value of $500 from the Mount Laurel Guild. That donation will be used for decoration for hanging in the library. The Parks and Rec Department will be donations are for the 8-mile and 5K races. Along with that is $50 from Michelle Ligori, attorney at law, $250 from Modulewski's Auto Body, $500 from All American Waste. They would request that the monetary donations be deposited in the Recreation Revenue Account number 10450044709. And the Parks and Rec Commission, as well as the library, would like to thank these donors for their generosity.
Second.
Second from the mayor. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you.
Mayor's comments?
Thank you, Katie. Just kind of a quick thing is this week is National Police Week, and National Police Week pays special recognition to those law enforcement officers who have lost their lives in the line of duty for safety and protection of others. A total of 165 officers have died in the line of duty in the year 2024. According to the data released by the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial Fund, of the deaths, 52 were from gunfire, 49 were from motor vehicle-related accidents and incidents, and 16 were from heart attacks. Harmon Kenneth Couch, a New Milford constable for 10 years, died in the line of duty on June 3, 1964. Patrolman Couch and Ted Adams responded to a report of a man and his 13-year-old son whose boat may have capsized near the Bleachery Dam on the Housatonic River. They utilized a small boat from a marina to enter the river. However, their boat was pulled into the dam and it capsized. Patrolman Couch was trapped below the dam and drowned. On May 15th, Patrolman Couch's sacrifice was honored in a ceremony at New Milford Police Department headquarters, where a memorial monument and a plaque stand as a testament to his heroism. Thank you to the men and women of the New Milford Police Department for keeping our community safe. Also, a couple of other things. Stopped at Len Deming to check on Family Fun Day, which was this past Saturday. It was a great event. I think it's the most we ever had for Family Fun Day. Fishing tournament was all the docks were full of youngsters fishing in the Derby. And then we had a movie night, which was Shrek. So wanted to thank Park and Rec Director Dan Calhoun Events Director Grant Munson, and all the Park and Rec team for the great event. Also wanted to thank Dawn Hugh for sponsoring our movie night. And you may know Dawn not only as a realtor, but the coach of the New Milford High School girls field hockey team.
Yes, I know.
Okay. Also want to thank David Palmer and Connor Ring and the volunteers who did the tree planting, which is now at Scoville Street. With the help of the volunteers, there's over 150 trees that were planted, and they consisted of gray and white dogwoods, plus some silver maple. And as I was telling them when I was there, probably in about 5 or 6 years, it's going to be a true place for people to take pictures, share memories, and really wanted to thank them. And they were very interested in volunteering to do this for school credit, and also because they're very big enthusiasts of us being a bee city. And these are pollinator type trees, so a big, huge thank you to them. Want to congratulate Kimberly Farms as they did their Mother's Day event in their grand opening of their ice cream store. It was great to see, and for those who don't know where that is, that's at 410 Chestnut Land Road, Route 109. Also wanted to spoke to Lochte, who is the founder of Education Without Walls, which is right over here on Bridge Street. They did an open house on 65 Bridge Street. And what is amazing is, in speaking to her last year, they had everyone that applied to college got accepted. And this year, I believe she told me there was only one. So amazing statistics, and congratulations to them. And 93% of the graduates in total have matriculated to post-secondary degree programs. So amazing statistic. Wanted to say congratulations and a big thank you to the New Milford High School girls soccer team and volunteer students as they're continuing to do a fundraiser for Noella, who's a student at New Milford High School who is battling cancer. There's going to be some other fundraising activities that they'll be presenting, and wanted to thank you. I stopped at the bake sale. I bought some brownies. They were pretty gosh darn good. But there'll be other ones that will be forthcoming that we'll be posting about. I want to congratulate the New Milford Youth Baseball and Softball as they had their opening day this past Saturday. So thank you to President Chris Simmons, VP of Baseball Joe Pisano, and VP of Softball, his wife Kaylin. The board of directors made Megan Lathrop, Lisa Emmons, Nicholas Bernardi, Jared Tuberville, Lisa Schwalbe, Brandon Merritt, Pat Wood, Ryan Benson, all the coaches and players and parents. And what was really great is this year they have over 300 players in the program, which is, from what I understand, about a decades-old high. And that's coming from a lot of the T-ball and the younger sports, so that means they're going to be able to get even more and really build that program, which is great. I want to thank New Milford High School Junior Drya, who's doing a personal care fundraiser for Ann's Place, and those are for patients facing cancer. There's going to be some drop-off. I believe the high school's got a drop-off box. There's one here at the mayor's office as well. So if anybody has an opportunity to donate, especially for a wonderful organization like Ann's Place, please do so, and thank you to Drya for really deciding to do this. Outstanding. Boy Scout Troop 158, Saturday, May 24th, is doing their Camping for Cans, and that's if you could bring a non-perishable item to that. It starts on Saturday, ends Sunday morning. They're going to be right here on the green, and they do this each year, and this is to help Loaves and Fishes. So if you get the chance and do have the ability to do so, please consider donating and helping out Loaves and Fishes, as well as the Boy Scouts, Troop 158. I want to thank 3 veterans for picking up nip bottles and garbage, and they came before us last year with those big, huge totes of all the nip bottles. They did River Road, which is 3.4 miles. They picked up 46 pounds of trash, 31 nip bottles, 17 redeemables. As we ask everyone, if you do have trash or bottles in your vehicle, please put them in a bag, and then when you reach your destination, please dispose of them properly rather than throwing them out the window. Bad for the environment, bad for animals that may be picking them up as well. So please consider doing so. And again, thank you to 3 veterans. I believe today they were out on Peagler Hill, and I'll provide an update with that. I want to thank our postal carriers as they did their National Stamp Out Hunger Drive on Saturday, and they were able to donate from our wonderful residents 3,500 pounds of food, and that will help the New Milford Food Bank and Loaves of Fishes. So big thank you to all the volunteers, our postal carriers, that did just such an amazing job. And we definitely need all the donations that we can get. So again, if you have the ability to do so, you can always donate to the New Milford Food Bank. All-Star Transportation, that's our busing company. I had a chance to meet with them. They're looking for some great people to join their team to safely drive students to and from school. There's opportunities for additional work. They're providing a $1,500 signing bonus if you have no experience, a $3,000 signing bonus if you're CDL with air brake, passenger, and school bus endorsements. If you're watching tonight and you're interested, you can contact the depot at 860-350-2880, or you can go on the mayor's page. There's a QR code. You can scan that, and it can give you all the additional information.
Mayor, is it true that if you have a preschool child, you can take the child, work it out to take the child on the bus with you?
I believe I've heard that, but that would be a question to ask the bus company. I believe you can do that.
I know.
Yep.
Yes?
There are some drivers that do that.
Ah,
And from what they had told me, there's an app for the parents that they can apply to, and it can actually tell them when the bus is getting ready to go pick them up. So it's a new app that they are bringing into the district. Some infrastructure work that's going on in the New Milford Sidewalk Project. Today, the contractor excavated pavement and process at the intersection of Summit Street and Aspetuck Avenue. They spread topsoil and grass seed at 13 Aspetuck Avenue. They continue to excavate for sidewalks and a bus pad in front of the Methodist, across from the Methodist Church on Route 7, which is by Pettibone. The Van Car Bridge project update. The contractor continued drilling and grouting micropiles for the new eastern abutment, as well as the continued excavation and cofferdam work for the western abutment. And we're still on schedule for that bridge work to get done. The Mallets Drain project, the contractor is doing work on Mallets just north of Upper Mallets. And Chuck, did they complete that, or they still got another day or two left with that?
They still have a little bit more time, Mayor. The progress is a little bit slow just because of the narrow road width there, so they will continue that project tomorrow and probably a little bit into the following week.
Great, thank you. New Milford police traffic statistics for this past week. Motor vehicle stops in the year 2024. This time in 2024, there was 1,672 traffic stops. This year, year to date, 2,034. That's an increase of 362, or a 21% increase from last year. Motor vehicle accidents in the year 2024, there was 274. 42 were in parking lots. This year, in the year 2025, there's 295. 57 of those are in parking lots. That's an increase of 21 or 7%. 15 of that increase of the 21 were in parking lots. And speaking with Chief Ceruto, kind of finding out why is it that we're seeing additional increases of parking lots where we're having accidents. It's because we're seeing a lot of people not from New Milford using our resources, whether they be going to a store or going to a service. They're using New Milford now as a center point. They're either coming here to use services or driving through here to get to their destination. And I guess that kind of makes sense as you see the statistics that we're seeing. The crash car currently is at Pettibone. And we did one last year as kind of an awareness of, with traffic accidents comes car crashes. So it's kind of an awareness, and we're going to be continuing to move that car around. So please, when you do see it, that's why it's there, is for awareness. Want to congratulate Manny and his entire family as they had the grand opening of their restaurant, Philos Latin Fusion, which is located in the Staples Plaza. Inside is beautiful if you like that Art Deco, like kind of Miami Beach kind of vibe. It's inside, all hand-done art. It's absolutely beautiful. The family, no, I didn't have a chance. I'm going to, though. The family, it's a family-owned restaurant. And what I thought was great was they named the restaurant after after his grandmother, who is 100 years old, and she actually came up for the grand opening, and they're using her recipes. So if you get a chance, come on down and check out our new business and thank them for their investment in our town. That's in the Staples Plaza. Yep. Just as a reminder, our Memorial Day parades are on May 26th, 8 a.m. at Gaylordsville, the fairgrounds, and then 10 a.m. right here in downtown New Milford. Also at noon on Memorial Day, got the Rotary Duck Race. Still time to buy a duck. $5 a duck. You could win first prize, which is $500. Second prize, $300. Third place, $200. And then in fourth and fifth place, $100. You can go to the mayor's page. You could pay with a QR code, or you can come down to the mayor's office. You can purchase them there, or to many numerous Rotarians that are out and about selling the Rotary Duck Race raffle tickets.
And there's going to be, besides Jesse's Ice Cream and hot dogs from, what's his name? Hot dog over by JPS, but we have line dancing from Jill Weiss in her studio.
Well, that'll be great.
I hope you can come down and
Absolutely.
join in the line.
Just a couple of events in May. So on May 14th, 13th, and 14th, we start the preseason park pass sales for Len Deming Park. On May 16th, 17th, and 18th, from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m., is the 5th annual Goat Days that kicks off our big event schedule that we have going on. May 17th is the Farmers Market right here on the green. Music on the bandstand will be Dave Del Monte, a great performer, does a lot of good rockabilly type work. Also, on the 17th, from noon to 6 p.m., is the Village Center for the Arts is doing their 25th anniversary celebration. There's going to be a lot of cool things going on. So you're going to have Village Center of the Arts, and then you're going to have Goat Boys. So lots of great things to do in the downtown. May 22nd from 6 p.m. to 7:30 p.m., Bank Street Theater is presenting Screenagers film in partnership with the Youth Agency. And this is a film for parents to learn more about their younger kids, grade school and junior high, and the use of social media, use of cell phones, and some of the dangers that can happen with it, kind of giving you more information. May 24th, 9 a.m. to noon again, is the Farmers Market, and music on the bandstand, Mark Huberman. We talked about Boy Scouts Troop 158 on the 24th and 58 doing their Camping for Cans. Also on the 24th, 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. at Gallery 25 is the Art of Scene Photography composition class with Terry Tugas. May 25th, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. at Pettibone is the Cruisin' New Milford Car Show. And the first Rock the Block is going to be May 29th, 6:30 p.m. It's going to be 100 proof. The rain date will be on the 30th. And that's always a great event where you can come listen to some outstanding music. Thank you to the Bank Street Group and the Downtown Merchants for allowing us to do Rock the Block. And it's a great time for everybody to come down and relax and enjoy some great music. And that's what I have for Mayor's comments.
Item 7, I'd like to move that we accept the following grant award for the New Milford Police Department. They've been awarded $25,000 from the National Rifle Association. The funds would be used to construct a new firearms range house. The plan is to build a modern ADA-compliant facility. It will not only support critical law enforcement training for New Milford PD and regional law enforcement partners, but also serve as a community resource for firearms training and adaptive sports through the development of a para-rifle team, which is modeled after the NRA Adaptive Shooting Program.
Second.
Any discussion? Alex?
Where are they going to do this? I think it's probably that what
They're doing that at the
park,
shooting range that the police have.
Right, and that's,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Please note my opposition because the money is from the NRA.
Gotcha. Any abstentions? Thank you.
All right.
All
Item
right.
number 8, I'd like to move to accept the appointment to the Commission on Aging. Carrie Lee Bunblansky, oh my God, I say your name all the time and I now mess it up. For her term would be from May 12th, 2025 through January 31st, 2029.
Do I have a second? Thank you. And Carrie's here.
Would you like to say something?
Everybody knows, well, I think most of us know Carrie, and she's also with Wheels for Wheels as well, which is a great tie-in to being on the Commission of Aging. And we have a motion, and we have a second. Any other further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you. And thank you, Carrie, for volunteering. Appreciate it.
Yes. Item number 9, I'd like to move to approve the recommendation of the Candlewood Lake Scenic Road Committee and the alterations that they suggest.
We have a second.
Second.
Yep. Chuck, can you come up and talk a little bit about the scenic road and what's going to be happening on Cannlewood Lake Road South?
Good evening, Mayor, Town Council. So I'd like to start just by define who's on the Scenic Road Committee. It's Jack Healy, Public Works Director, Councilors Paul Murphy and Sal Reinkowitz, I apologize. Stephen Paduano, resident, Doris Coleman, resident, Ron D'Ambrosio, resident, and Lori Hutchinson, resident. And what this is, about a year ago this started, there was a request that came in to the Department of Public Works for a crosswalk down by the Candlewood Lake Club, sorry. So they were requesting a crosswalk at Chimney Point Road. So this started the scenic road process in accordance with the ordinance that's on file. So we met, the town council set a committee, which included those stated. And then I started a discussion and kind of led everyone through the process. So during the process, we also looked at Candlewood Lake Road South as a whole and looked at what we could do to make some additional benefits while we had the Scenic Road Committee formed. Recently, we did some alterations on the road, just normal maintenance, included some drainage, some guide rail repair, but some other areas were identified. So on this, you'll see a collaboration of the requests that came into the town from the Lake Club themselves, as well as some other things discovered during discussion with the residents on the road. So I'll just walk through what the proposals are. Number 1, it's a new crosswalk proposed at both intersections of Chimney Point Road and Lake Road South. Included in that would be the pavement markings and the signs at the crosswalk. Number 2, and this is more globally, each crosswalk on Candlewood Lake Road South shall be marked in both directions with the standard white crossbars and pedestrian crossing sign with the downward facing arrow at each crosswalk location. Number 3, a pedestrian crossing ahead sign combination for crosswalks shall only be required around curves that limit the sight line to crosswalks to less than 100 feet. Number 4, a pedestrian crosswalk next to mile sign combination shall be installed in the northbound direction at the town line and at the southbound direction just before Candlewood Heights. And I'll say that this particular item came in over concern from sign proliferation along the roadway because it's a scenic road. The residents wanted to minimize the amount of signs. So MUTCD guidance allows us to place them at the crosswalk. It's absolutely required and encouraged. The crosswalk ahead signs, unless there's a sight line issue, we can get away with making that basically a pedestrian zone. So that 2-mile stretch is fairly straight, except for that northern end of it, where we will have a crosswalk ahead sign around that curve. Next would be some guide rail alterations. Specifically, the ordinance talks about new installations. The DPW did a drainage project around the sharp curves around number 667. That's the S curve, kind of at the northern portion of where we're talking. We did some drainage work because it routinely overtopped. We increased the pipe size and made that inlet a little bit bigger. When we did that, that kind of opened up a larger slope off the road. Generally, we protect these slopes from cars going off the road, so you'll see this request as a new Core 10, which is the weathered brown guide rail, which currently exists on Lake Road South, as well as many other scenic roads in town. So it's a new Core 10 rail system that spans roughly from Haviland Road down to the number 667. That'll encompass not just the swale we did, but an existing swale that had old wood rail around it. Furthermore, at that same intersection, we're replacing the same piece of roadway. We're replacing the 2-cable wood post rail system spanning across the street from number 667, heading towards Haviland and beyond. It's that inside radius corner. It's an old 2-cable system. We agreed that it would be best to replace that with the 3-cable metal post rail system. That way it keeps the view exposed to the wood line that's behind it, and it's not, a brown guide rail at that location. Number 7 talks about a concrete Jersey barrier. If you've been that road, you've seen 2 or 2.5 basically Jersey barriers placed on the side of the road. It was done some at one point to prevent people from parking and accessing the lake when they shouldn't be. The Jersey barriers were placed. Again, as we looked at this road as a whole, we looked for ways to improve while the committee was formed. We discussed the options, and it was agreed that we would extend the 2-cable post system from what's there now to cover that area where the Jersey barriers are. Again, the 2-cable system allows the best view through, so it doesn't really affect the natural beauty, and it falls in line with exactly what's there currently. The other issue that came up was a form of traffic calming, and how do we try to get cars to slow down, just like on many of the other roads we see in town. The idea came up about installing a white edge line. It is supported by Department of Public Works and the residents. So it's the full length of Lake Road South that'll get the white edge line, very similar to say what's on Grove Street right now. It's a good way, they say it's a traffic calming tool. It's a good way for nighttime roadway departures to reduce that, and then incorporate that into the newer technology cars that relies on lane departure systems to keep cars on the road as well. So the residents were in agreement, and we support it. And then just going forward for guide rail that needs replacement, the new 3-cable metal post guide rail system will be utilized to allow for scenic views as much as possible. The Core 10, which is the weathered brown, will be used in other areas where the views tend to be already blocked or on the outside of the radiuses when the crash protection is most needed. And that's all I have.
And Chuck, the residents all approved, they were on the Scenic Road Committee, all approved this.
Correct. We've had a couple virtual meetings to discuss this. I put down paint on the ground so residents knew where the guide rail would be going and talked. There was, again, virtual meetings, an email thread going back and forth. It was great conversation, so I'd like to thank publicly everybody on that committee, the council as well that were sat on that, and my director. But everybody was in agreement at the end of the day to move forward with these, and compared to where we started to where we are now, I think there was a lot of common ground that was gained and some very positive changes for that roadway.
Great. Alex, do you have a question?
Yeah. Is there a timeline for this work?
Well, if you approve it tonight, I'm hoping to have it when they put down pavement markings in the next week or two. So,
But it wasn't in your plan of work.
It wasn't. But right now we have the pavement markings crew coming into town over the next couple of weeks. So this will fall in line perfectly with that. We'll have all that pavement markings down before, basically the lake opens for full use. The signage itself, I'll have to order them. That's maybe a week or two out as well. And then the guide rail, the contractor was in. He said he could fit it in before July 1.
And it wasn't in the budget.
The minimal. So when we redid the roadway, we did some set aside for projects like this for additional line striping and additional guide rail, just in case it was needed. Obviously, we had to follow the process before we installed it, which is why we haven't done it to date. But we do have set aside for it.
Mayor?
I'd like to know how many new crosswalks are intended and how many in total.
So the only crosswalks proposed, and I'm asking for approval, are the two at Chimney Point. So Chimney Point is a U-shaped roadway. It has two intersections with Lake Road South. Those are the only two being proposed. Any further proposed crosswalks would have to come back to committee and town council for vote. This is just to establish rules for existing crosswalks, and the two new ones and existing crosswalks, so we have some symmetry across the road. That's why it's kind of laid out the way it is in this proposal.
Doug?
Thank you, and it's an about time being on that road, you know, for years. Could be very hazardous, so you might be solving a problem.
We hope to. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Doug?
Just piggyback on a quick question. Do you have an estimate of cost?
I was looking at it earlier, and I should have brought the numbers. I think the guide rail itself was around $17,000 for the installation on that. Pavement markings is minimal. I want to say it's around 1,800 total.
So
And
say
then-
it's around 20 grand for everything?
I think all said, and then some signage we have to buy. Yeah, I think in total, yeah. Again, that's not a lot of guide rail. Guide rail is very expensive, but it's also very needed.
So quick question, you mentioned Cannabis Heights. And I know the First Light has done some demolition over there. They've had some issues.
They are.
Is that beach going to be reopened for that walkway over there at Cannabis Heights, or what's going on over there? They're having an issue with some legal problems.
So that is kind of between First Light and the beach community. There's been no involvement through our department as far as what's going on there. So I couldn't tell you, to be honest with you.
I didn't know if you had any conversation with them. So.
There has not been.
So the signs you're putting up, they're not electric, they're not solar, they're just general posts.
These are just static, yeah, your everyday static signs you see at pretty much every pedestrian crossing in town. It's the fluorescent green person walking with the downward facing arrow, you know, at each approach.
And one more question.
No problem.
Doesn't pertain to this, but how's the Hind Hill Grove Street like? Where are we at with that?
Oh, so this past week we actually had a virtual meeting with Connecticut DOT. Things are progressing well, so it's basically in the hands of Connecticut DOT for their final review and approval. We expect about 30 days for an environmental study for that. Now that they've accepted it, the process is to move along. Environmental review would be next on the list of their checklist. So they're telling me it's roughly a 30 to 90 day turnaround for that.
So best case scenario, maybe the fall we'll see a light.
Best case scenario fall, I'll say it's probably more likely for a spring project, but soon as, you know, if Connecticut DOT does a quicker turnaround, then we're ready to proceed.
Okay.
I will say if the cost changes a little bit, we do have to go back in front of our WestCog just for additional funding to get increase on that. It doesn't look to be a big change, and should it be recommended by Connecticut DOT, WestCog generally agrees with their findings because they get their money from Connecticut DOT.
Thanks, Jeff. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Katie?
You answered my question. The people that live there were heavily involved in this, and they're happy about the two crosswalks at Chimney Point?
Yes.
Or the two areas?
So we send out postcards and invites to everyone that lives on the road. We did have the initial virtual meeting. We had 7 or 8 people total that did show up. And then we have 4 residents that volunteered to be on the committee. There was a couple virtual meetings after that, as well as a slew of emails back and forth, just going over what can we do and, you know, what shouldn't we do. So
It'll be safer all the way around.
yes, in our opinion, it will be a safer roadway. It does accommodate, you know, pedestrians and helps the motorists alike.
Any other questions for Chuck? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you, Chuck.
Thanks, Chuck. Item 9, I'd like to move, motion to move us into executive session, inviting Town Attorney DeBella and the Director of Finance, Olga Melnikov.
Second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you.
That's item 10.
Thank you.
No, item 10.
Item 10.
I'd like to move that we return to regular session, and during executive session, no motions were made and no votes were taken.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you.
Item number, I'm sorry, I made the wrong number. Item number 11. Is that it? No, item number 10.
11.
Okay, that's what mine says 10. Item number 11, I'd like to move that we take action on the Birch versus Town of New Milford litigation.
The federal court judgment.
Federal court judgment, let me add
Okay.
that, right?
Thank you,
I
Katie.
need a second.
Second.
Thank you. As far as kind of some background on where we are, in the 1980s, there was a case, Birch-Henning, against the state of Connecticut, which Randy, the state settled for how much did they settle for? $26 million. And then the town itself was under a lawsuit. For those that remember, we did settle the Henning case for 2.4. Yep. So $2.5 million. What was left was the Birch case, of which the Birch case, the jury awarded $5.7 million. And then we had interest that was from the beginning of the court case, which bring the total number to $7,659,269. Though none of us here were involved in this case at all, none of us were on any of these boards, we still represent the town of New Milford, and the town of New Milford is obligated per the federal court judgment. So Randy, a federal court judgment, for those that may be watching tonight, that pretty much says you have to pay.
Yes, there's no option. You can't escape a judgment. It's mandatory.
Thank you. So the proposal to settle the $7,659,269 settlement would be as proposed. $3.5 million would come out of our unassigned fund. And speaking with Olga, our finance director, that would still keep us within the 2-month reserves that's required. $1 million would come out of our capital reserve fund. $500,000 would come out of our tax relief fund. And $2,659,269 would come out of the landfill settlement fund, which our town attorney had given to the Board of Finance concerning the available use of these funds for tax purposes. If this proposed settlement and the way we are paying it is approved by not only the town council here, but by the Board of Finance and then a town meeting, how this would be done, there would be no, if agreed, there would be no supplemental tax to our taxpayers. And I would remind the public at large is settling these two cases then puts us on a path forward. Though these are going to be a large hit to the town itself, we still have the availability and the funds to be able to do this again without going back to our taxpayers for additional funds. Any questions on the proposal? And we have a motion. Do we have a motion? And we have a second.
Yes.
Yep. All those in favor of the proposal?
Aye.
Aye.
Any against? Any abstentions? Katie, I'd also like to ask, because we have to go through the process, this will go to the Board of Finance at their next meeting, which, Olga, is what date?
28.
If then we could set the town meeting.
June 9th, our first meeting of June, 6:15.
So I have a motion to set the town meeting that's required.
Second.
And we have a second from Mr. Skelly. All those in favor of the town meeting?
Aye.
Any opposed?
June 9th.
Any abstentions? And I really want to thank our town council for all of your hard work. I want to thank Randy, you, Elliot, and your whole team as well. These are very trying times for a case that was way beyond our scope as this was done in the 80s. So thank you.
And John Tower.
And John Tower, absolutely. Okay. Thank you. Katie, next.
Okay, next up, give me a minute to get my head together here. We have, Mayor, we have a discussion. I would like to move that we do take action on the solar array that would be located at Century Brass property.
Second.
Thank you. And we have a presentation. And this, I believe, is a bit of good news that we're going to have today. But Jack, if you could kind of go over a little bit about what we've been looking at.
Yeah, I'm going to introduce John Guth from Guth and DeConzo Engineers. They are the ones we are working with on looking at solar energy at the Century Brass site. We are looking at two different projects, and he'll talk about each one. One is what we'll call the Century Brass solar plant. That proposal would be for locating solar panels on the existing concrete slab that remains from the building, and that would be part of a closure plan worked out with DEP and EPA. This works. They work together very nicely as far as that part of the project. The second part that John will discuss with you briefly is the proposed DPW facility rooftop unit, which would be part of the installation. If and when the building was constructed, it would be part of making what I've talked to EP and DEP about, being a carbon neutral, or even better yet, a carbon negative site with a lot of environmental benefits as part of this project. John's going to talk to you about their planning and some of the finances that would come from that.
John?
Okay.
John, if you could give the town council and those that are watching kind of a resume of your work, so to speak.
What's your last name? Guth, G-U-T-H. A little bit about my office and the type of work we do. So I'm the founder, I'm the founder of Guth DeConzo Consulting Engineers. We've been in business since 1991. A big part of our business is about renewable energy. And we have a whole group. We have somewhere around 90 employees. One of our biggest clients is the New York Power Authority. So we do a lot of projects for the New York Power Authority that are all related to energy conservation. They could be everything from chiller replacements to controls to solar to boiler replacements, or the biggest project we have right now is we're electrifying 9 bus depots for the New York City MTA because they are getting electric buses to replace their hybrid and diesel and gas buses. So I'm actually really passionate about this type of work, and I moved to New Milford in 2022, and I'm thrilled to work with the mayor and with Jack. It's I think it's just good for the town, good for the environment. I think there's real opportunities. The Century Brass site is such an interesting site because it's a brownfield site. So what do you do with a brownfield site? I mean, what better thing could you do than put renewable energy on it? And then the DPW facility, we're doing other carbon neutral facilities. Like I'm involved in a carbon neutral hangar at Stewart Airport for Amex, which is going to be a very interesting project, but no more interesting than the DPW facility or certainly the brass plating factory site. So I will tell you a little bit about how we see the finances on this working. At the Century Brass site, we're going to do a utility interconnect, and we're going to work with Eversource. It's part of their CT Clean Energy program. The power that we create on that site, we can sell back to Eversource, or the town can sell back to Eversource for 13.5 cents a kilowatt hour. In addition to that, we get a 10% reduction on utility bills throughout the town. So that's another We're basing it on an average rate that you're paying of 25 cents a kilowatt hour. So it's that's another 2.5 cents. So there's a total of 16 cents a kilowatt hour we'll be getting from the utility company. The Century Brass site will generate approximately 92 million kilowatt hours of electricity. The gross projected revenue on that, based on the 16 cents, is just over $15 million over 30 years. That comes out to about 400, and that comes out to just over $500,000 a year. We put in some. We estimated the operating and maintenance, the administrative, and the insurance cost, which knocked that amount of money down to just over $13 million. So it's about $444,000 a year. The cost of the project, which I'm sure everybody's very interested in, is about $5.2 million. And through investment tax credits that you get through the IRA, which are still available, and I think they will remain available for at least the near future, we'll get a 40% investment tax credit, which comes to $2 million. So the town will actually get a check for $2 million from the federal government. Now the town has to put up $5.2 million to build it, and you won't get that $2 million check until the project is built and certified that it's actually operating properly. So that's kind of the Century Brass site
And
in a nutshell.
the big number, right, is over a 20-year lifespan, right? Or is it 30? 30-year lifespan. How much money is thrown off that would go to the New Milford coffers?
Well, the gross amount is $15 million, based on our projections. With we even have degradation of the panels in there. $15,201,000.
I'm looking at your slide deck here.
Yeah.
The net free cash flow.
The net free cash flow.
That's after everything is paid.
That's after
debt.
everything, and we estimated the debt service based on a 25-year bond, I think at 4.5%. And I know Olga talked to Monty, who is from Denergy. He does all the finances for us. I think you were saying, Olga, we should do it on a 4%. 20 years. 4%, 20 years, right? So that number would change a little bit. I feel like you're better at estimating the cost of money for the town than we are.
So the free cash flow at 4.5% on your deck right here
is $8.3 million over 30 years. That's
Yep.
So that actually comes out to $277 a year.
How do you calculate over 30 years if you don't know what the rate is going to be?
We estimated a 3.
No, how you calculate, not estimate. How do you calculate it? You're asking for $5.2 million, and you're saying that you're calculating it's going to be 18, or estimating it's going to be 18 millions over 30 years, right?
15 million. We estimated 92 million kilowatt hours of generation. We have
I understand. So
that's easy to do.
So part of this you're selling to the average source at 13 something cents.
Around 13 and a half.
Correct.
Right.
Is that calculated within 30 years that it's going to be that rate? Or what about if it goes to 6?
If what goes to 6? No, the 13 and a half cents is guaranteed.
By who?
By Eversource.
Really? For 30 years?
Yeah, the Connecticut Clean Energy Program.
So why don't they give us that break for the 30 years? Okay, so how much of this we're selling to someone else?
We're not selling it to other people. By generating this power, we get a 10% reduction per kilowatt hour we inject back into the utility on any town-related bills. So we looked at all your meters So like this building here, I don't remember exactly what the kilowatt hour usage is for the building, but let's say you're paying 25 cents a kilowatt hour, which is approximately what you're paying now.
Why don't we pay 13
You get a
cents?
10% reduction.
What's the ROI in the investment?
You're putting in 5 and you're getting back 8.
Right away, the next day?
No, over 20 years, 25, 20 years, you're getting 8 back.
So that doesn't even cover the inflation.
Well, that's over 100% return on your
30
investment.
years?
Yeah, it's over 100%.
Well, I mean, I'm not a finance person.
Right.
But,
I can see that.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, that's fine. Fair enough. But if you look at the total revenue of 13.3 million before financing, and you look at the cost of 5.2 million, you're going to get 2 million back from the federal government. So if you had your actual return on investment, if you were paying for it all in cash up front, I came up with 7.2 years.
So after 8 years, we're starting to get money back that we invested.
Well, I mean, but you're financing the whole thing, so.
Financing is not free.
Yeah, we have the cost of financing in there at almost $5 million over 25 years.
I don't think we can make a prediction for 30 years of anything. Never mind the rate of the kilowatt per hour, especially in the
if you look, okay,
in the lefty
so
in Connecticut.
We have another slide that shows the increase in utility rates over the last, let's say, 10 or 20 years. I forget. We could put it up, but I mean, the utility rates are only going up, or have historically only gone up.
There's the graph.
So, I mean, yeah, they're the graphs. I think the reality is that there are significant issues with the utility grid. It's been neglected for 50 years or whatever. So there's a huge amount of investment that has to go in repairing the grid and preparing it for the increased electric usage, because, I mean, everybody knows what's happening with other types of generation. They're trying to get rid of natural gas in a lot of areas, particularly the Northeast, oil. So what's going to be required on the grid, it's a lot more energy that's going to be run on it, and somebody has to build that. They have to build the generation. You're getting in. The way I look at it, the town is building their own generation and getting ahead, rather than having to pay higher utility rates for the utility company to build the generation.
Katie?
You don't understand the concept.
Okay, that's okay.
Question. So the Eversource, we're giving back energy to Eversource.
You're selling energy.
Selling it.
You're not giving it.
But that's where it's going to go. What if Eversource becomes ABC company and they don't want it? They have about the solar issues we've had here, I assume, right? That we had someone who wanted to put solar panels all over the place, and then we found out that none of it was going to come here. It was going to go to Massachusetts or whatever, and then Massachusetts says, well, we have an awful lot already. So I think your numbers and all, it looks good. I haven't investigated it totally, but how can we be sure that someone will want to do what you're saying we can do with Eversource? I'm assuming this
there's it's a contract with Eversource.
Okay, but there are contracts. Okay, there are contracts with a lot of companies in a lot of different areas that when the companies are sold, go out of business, morph together with others, that there are changes. I mean, there's nothing that's ironclad really anymore.
True.
You understand? I'm not saying it's going to happen here, but being a bit gun shy on the fact that a lot of people in this town put their hopes in that, we're going to sell money, we're going to sell electricity and it's going to be great. We're going to have money to do all kinds of things. One of them was the area we're talking about now. And we didn't come to be.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with that project.
Oh, okay, well, that's good, you don't need to be. It was
Well,
not
I'd like
that,
to hear
it wasn't
about it,
worth your
but-
time.
And that project had nothing to do with the town of New Milford.
Right.
And the town of New Milford would get no money.
That's right, right. No, I'm not talking about what you said there. My only concern is that Eversource, what do we have? Connecticut Light and Power, you know all the utilities
No, I
in
know,
every state.
First Light. I'm very familiar with
Exactly,
First Light,
exactly.
too.
So just your experience, which you've been in this game a lot longer than I have, because I'm not. So I'm just asking, I don't think you would have done this if you didn't believe that there was a basis for this to last the 30 years. In other words,
I
to
think
be-
there is. I mean,
Yeah.
the reality is, we've done other solar projects that are much larger, but they base it on 50 years.
But in New York City, that's a
the
different-
reality is the panels will get better.
Yes.
And in 20 or 25 years, you may choose to just change all the panels out to get more production. And and once the infrastructure's there, you have to build a small substation to tie.
Right.
So there's a lot of infrastructure you're building on these solar jobs like this that have a lot of value for 50 years. So
Okay, how long, what's the life of the panel now? I know it used to be.
these panels that we based it on have a 30-year warranty. A lot of them only have 20.
Yeah, right, so it's more.
So
now
I mean,
than it
we
used to
could
be.
go to a lower cost panel.
No, I'm just saying, because we went through this and we knew what it
and get
was.
the numbers even to look slightly better, but
No, what you've given us is very elucidating, I guess. But I
mean,
just want
this is the basic idea, I think, is the cost of electricity is a big expense for the town. And this will allow the town to reduce their electricity cost and to put some money in their pocket through the ITC.
Right, it's just the 20 or 30-year thing, you're talking to
I
three
know,
of us here.
I know.
Right.
I
So
understand.
you got another 29,000
I won't
out
be
there.
around personally, but.
Yeah, so the people that pay their taxes here and live here would like to understand what you said is that or Sal said, is that there's money from us to do it, and we wait X number of time to receive or recoup that.
Right.
That's, I'm sure you've
I mean,
talked
the
about it.
biggest part of this is really the ITC. I mean, think about it. The ITC is paying for 40%.
So John, just
Yeah.
for the person that may be watching and maybe to answer Sal's comments, right?
Okay.
So if you're going to invest 5.7 million, right?
5.2.
You're not going to put 5.7 million up all at one time.
That's true.
You would borrow the 5.7 million, right? So the 5.7 million, Olga, if you were to take 5.7 million
5.2.
or 5.2,
Yeah.
You got 5.
divide
Let's
that,
not make it higher.
divide that by 30 years.
Well, you use 25, right?
We
Or
use
divide
25.
by 25.
208,000.
Okay.
So
And
there's
how-
a net, there's a
and
net
how much,
cash flow to
and
the
how much,
town
and how
of-
much would the town first year of production would the cash flow be?
About $240,000 is what I'm showing.
Okay. So there'd be no net cost.
No. It's you're getting $444,000 a year. You're paying just over two something for the bond.
now
So
you're
I was
paying-
coming up with like
So
two.
net-
Right, so again.
There's a net-
Because there's all
Right.
confusion now. How much would we get, right, in revenue?
444.
Right, and how much, Olga, would the cost of,
This is just the principal. So
Correct.
still
You just to pay
principal
the
plus
bond
something
cost for the first year.
right. So you would,
more than that.
And what
you
does
would-
that cost, Pete?
right, at 4%, what would
Well, that's a different.
What would the interest be?
That's a little different schedule, so we will do that on the spot.
Oh, you can't do it on the
It's a
spot.
straight line, but it's not, when you go for debt, it's
Okay.
not a straight line into it.
I think what we should do to answer Sal's question is we'll come up with the P&I, principal and interest.
We
on that.
can do that for you. We have this is based on a program that shows that. So if you want me to.
Yeah, that's where I was
As a
getting
starting
at
point.
since the very beginning, right?
Yeah.
Which was, estimated net free cash flow after debt service, right?
Yeah,
You used 4.5%.
that's correct.
Olga's saying 4%.
Right.
But let's use the high amount
Yeah.
Yeah,
of 4.5%. So basic math would tell me 8,325,486, right? Divided over 25 years. It's not going to give you the exact amount.
no. Yeah, I'm sorry. It's not quite what you're thinking.
Okay.
The net income before the debt is 13 million. After the debt, it's 8.3 million. So
Correct.
the cost of the money we have in there is like right at $5 million
I understand.
over the
that.
life of the, okay.
The free cash flow is what you're saying on this deck.
Yeah.
Is 8,325,000.
Yeah, that's right.
Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. Is that after all of our expenses?
After all expenses.
Is that free cash flow to the town of New Milford?
That's correct.
Okay. So we would divide 8,325,486 divided by what?
30.
By 30 years.
We're going with 30?
So can you divide that over 30 years?
277.
So we would have free cash flow every year of $270-some thousand.
That's right.
Starting,
After
Guaranteed by who?
starting
Eversource?
with the flip of the switch?
Well, it's a combination of things. There is some money from Eversource, 13.5 cents, plus a reduction in your utility bills of 10% for every kilowatt hour
the
you're putting on there.
municipality,
So
for the
that's not,
municipality.
On top
that
of
is
that.
not money that's coming in, that's money saved.
Right. That's anybody in,
Right,
that's
but-
all our
but
town.
You just said that the ROI is going to be after 7 years. So how is that we're getting money the day after we install this thing? This is what I don't understand. ROI concept is basically that you're getting money when you put it in investment, you start recouping the money. So this is where I'm confused. If ROI is after 7 years, if we're putting $5 million, and now we're saying that we're getting money every year, so which one is it?
It's if you take a bond out year one to finance it, there's the cost of the bond, there's the cost of money, and then there's the value of the money that you're bringing in from selling to Eversource and from the savings off your utility bills of 10%.
That's not a question. Question is this. You're installing this on June 1st. June 2nd, how much money are you getting? Any money?
If
For
it's
instance-
installed, yeah. If it's operational, yeah, money's coming in.
Right, so we're saying that we're gonna get money because we're installing the super duper solar system, fine.
Right.
But now, before you said it's 7 years we're gonna recoup before we get any money. Now we're
No,
saying
I said it would be 7 years if you put up all the money in advance and did not do a bond.
Right.
If you paid for it in cash on day one, it would take about 7 years to get your
bond
money
or no
back.
bond, how much money we're getting every year for this? Never mind
400
financing, it's not something.
We're averaging out just $444,000 a year.
Clear money to the town.
No, I mean you got to pull out the cost of the bond if you're going to.
Right.
It's $277,
Free.
$277,000 a year after you pay for the cost of the bond.
I think it's.
I got a couple questions.
Okay.
Doug?
So one question is, we haven't talked about $2 million after it's completed, correct?
The $2 million
Back from the
is,
federal government.
it's from the federal government, yes.
So after it's completed, right, the project,
Yeah,
the $2 million comes to town, correct?
that's correct, as
So
a
we
check.
can either use that to offset some of the bond or put it into.
Or you can use it
general
for whatever you want to
Right.
use it
fund? So
for.
now we're at 3.2, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, so simple math. So
Yeah.
Now we've lowered it down because we're gonna get, so how long does it take to build something like this?
Not that long. It's they're pretty simple projects. We build the structure, we put a membrane, we're working with Jack's working on that slab, putting a membrane on it.
Is that a guarantee?
I think certainly no more than 18 months. I think we could do it in 12.
Okay, so hypothetically, let's just say 2 years.
I mean, if you have to do construction documents, you have to bid it out and all that. But once you have a contractor that's been hired.
Because I don't get into the bonding, whatever, that's always the thing. So say it's completed in 2 years. And we bonded 5.2, we have these payments we need to
Yeah.
pay. And then $2 million comes in. Where do we put that? Can we offset some of the bond costs? And then we'll go
Olga
lower
could
for
answer
us?
that.
We'd ask Olga.
Yes, if we do
That's what I'm
receive, it's
saying.
gonna be unanticipated revenue.
Right.
It will show up as a surplus basically for our budgetary performance, and then it will come before the town council and Board of Finance for further appropriation.
So could we use that money to reduce the bond payment and make it even lower? And this
That
way,
will be-
we're even making
That
more
depends
revenue
on-
back from it?
That will be
depends.
defined by the terms and conditions of
issuer.
the borrowing.
Right.
Some, there's some borrowing comes with a guaranteed minimum term
Right.
before you can refinance it or lower the payments. But that will all be decided or can be
So,
decided.
in a sense, our rate of return will be even higher
Correct.
when we get the 2 million to help offset some of the bond costs, correct?
Correct.
So that
Theoretically.
number you're mentioning, 277, could actually even be higher.
Right,
Because
but-
once we take the 2 million to help offset the 5.2.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
Based on what?
It's simple math, right?
No, based on what? Who's paying you that money?
$2 million from the federal government.
Really?
Where?
Yeah, it's
Every year.
okay, so it's part of the IRA, the Inflation Reduction Act.
I mean, the only-
Yeah, it's a,
We're familiar with this program. The only threat is, I guess, when it comes to particular funding for the IRS. There is a running program. It is the case, there, you know, if there is an eligible project, municipalities are eligible for that direct reimbursement from IRS.
So far,
The only question, I guess, for me, like thinking long term, is that funding guaranteed? You know, is
That's
there
right.
a limit that IRS has to distribute to eligible projects? And, you know, is it first come, first served, or is a bit of funding guaranteed for a number of years? So there's a little bit of, I guess,
So you-
concern.
yeah,
looking
so you wouldn't do-
ahead, but as of now, it is a viable program. It is the case. I'm not sure if it could be 40%. I know depending on the kilowatt production, or there's some limits. It could be 25.5% reimbursement of the cost. But certain projects can get.
you can get up to, I mean, this project, there's approximately another 10% incentive just because it's a brownfield site, so,
That's true.
Yeah.
So who applies for that $2 million? You? Your
yeah, we'll do it. Yeah.
It would be the
I mean, I work with a company that,
And the good part about it, Doug, is the flexibility. So if you don't get this money, you cannot do the project.
Well, that's just it.
You would need to know.
well, you have to get to
you
what's
that
called
before
safe
that.
harbor. Olga
Yep.
probably.
correct.
I think that the $2 million given back gives us more incentive. Because you kind of.
I think so. I mean,
Right,
With all the
right,
money's
and-
been flying
and-
around, but anyway.
On private projects, they don't give you cash. Their investment tax credits. What I've seen is they sell the investment tax credits to,
Right.
people with big tax bills for like 90 cents on the dollar. But with a municipality, you can get all the you can get just a check for the full amount, which I think is an amazing opportunity.
And I'd be interested in those numbers if we took that 2 million when we got it, put it off that bond and see what our RI would be. Because we're almost going what, maybe 40% now, half of the 5.2. So 2 million is what, 40% of it? So now you're at 3.2,
Yep.
which is
Katie?
a big difference.
And then Mary Jane.
I have a question, really, it's for Jack more than anything, is the slab is not approved right this moment to have anything done to it, correct?
Yeah.
Yes. No, I mean, yes or no?
No.
Okay. So, we've all been here long enough to know that that area has gone through many different things. So here we have the slab, which we need to do something special there. We can't put people on it or whatever. So what do you think about the timing of that being approved for what this gentleman's talking about?
I think we'll have approval within a year. TRC is without the event, so just short answer to, I think within a year I'll approve on the slide. EPA and DEP are very interested.
Okay, so no offense to you, Jack, but I'm just going to say, let's say a year and a half, because things haven't been well over there. It's sort of hexed. So now I'm going to ask you, we're talking about the money and the interest and everybody's getting into this whole thing now. But let's move forward instead of being in the middle of almost of 2025, and let's say that we're in the end and we're almost into 2027. Now, you can't predict nor...
No,
Right,
I won't
right.
pretend that I can.
That's right. So I think that's, not to put a damper on this, because I do like the idea very much. I just feel that the downer part of this isn't your fault or
Right.
problem.
No, I understand.
It's ours. And I appreciate that you're doing this. And I just have one question. So the idea is that you're looking at the panels being on top of the slab.
That's correct.
Okay, so that whole area would be panels only.
That's right. Yeah, we did an analysis to determine how much, how much production we get out of the panels. We selected a panel. We have drawings that show that.
No, I'm sure
if
you went
anybody's
through
interested
it.
if you're interested in seeing them.
No,
but it basically
I
covers the slab. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So that would be the way it would always be, so to speak, in my lifetime anyway.
Yeah.
So just real quick.
I have a question.
Oh, go ahead.
Mary Jane?
So, yeah, one of my questions was about what kind of approvals we have for deep. You know that's all still up in the air. I'm concerned about funding from the federal government because everything is such a mess at this point, and everything is getting slashed and burned. And
Well, there is something called safe harbor.
Right.
So if you can push the project, which it sounds like, we may have a difficult time doing that because of the issues with the slab. But if we could push it along, if you can get to safe harbor, then it's guaranteed.
I don't think anything's guaranteed right now. I'm sorry.
That's my be under safe harbor.
Well, I'm also concerned about.
I understand the thought, but
I'm also concerned about the 30-year idea of the project over 30 years. We know technology is changing.
Exactly.
So
the panels get better and better,
I
but
don't know in 30 years are we going to even
the sun will still be
panels?
shining.
They may not even have panels anymore.
Let's hope so.
We may not have panels. Who knows what we're going to have in 30 years?
Right.
That worries me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know,
I hear that on other jobs that people are concerned about that, but
If the space was ready to be used,
we
the
could get to safe
membrane,
harbor.
if all it needed was the membrane next month, and then this could be more of a reality to consider. And it's not your fault.
Well, I think the council, like anything else, when you're looking at big appropriations like this, looking at a return on investment like this, to throw off hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. As we all know, we're fighting for every tax dollar for municipal services, educational services, to be able to have an opportunity to throw off millions of dollars of cash flow, to be able to help offset our taxes, to me seems like something we should at least look into.
Definitely.
Not vote on today, nor was there supposed to be a vote. This is just to show the town council that there is an opportunity to take a brownfield site that has a slab that you can't do anything with right now and actually income produce on it.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
it's just the beginning, a start of a narrative. That's why we're bringing it up here today. Mary Jane?
I have questions about, the physics of the whole thing.
Okay, good.
And water runoff.
We're all over the water runoff. We've talked to Jack about it. We're even thinking about getting the water runoff and putting it in.
Well, I think tonight, Mary Jane, those are all
that's a really
great
good question.
questions. I think tonight would just be like, does the town council, is this something that you would be interested in knowing more about? Or is this just to the council? No, doesn't seem like a good idea. Let's move on. Alex?
Well, I'd
But the
like
water-
to have those in my hand.
Absolutely.
Presentation and any
100%.
other support
Right.
materials. And because I think we should be talking about.
A little bit about your
especially
company
on a
and.
piece of property
Sure.
that may not be able to host anything else.
That's right, and so far, it's been nothing going on there.
Right.
I'd like to have more numbers like Alex said in
Yep.
front of us. The RI, 2 million, blah, blah, blah. Also, I'd like to know, because we talked about we're not going to be here in 30 years, whose responsibility is to take care of all this over the 30 years? Is it your company?
Oh, he has grandchildren.
I don't think so.
Okay.
I think DPW can maintain it. The maintenance. I don't think you want to put it out.
Right,
I mean, you can hire people to do it, but
It's not a big deal.
I think DPW could. That's my opinion. But we can talk about that. We have costs in here for operating and maintenance.
What's the cost of disposal of something like this?
Panel disposal?
30 years? In 30 years?
In whatever years,
No,
doesn't
you
matter.
mean- are
If
you-
something breaks, we have to dispose
Yeah.
it. Who pays for that?
Well, solar panel disposal, when the replacement comes, that's a whole unit all by itself.
Yeah, but who pays for this?
Well, what do you mean? Like,
Okay, let's say you have a
so
thousand.
they have a warranty.
Right, yeah, okay.
A
So
30
you have a
years.
warranty for what? For the
30
disposal?
years. I mean, I think it would be unusual for that to be of any significance.
Right.
Really?
Yeah.
Why not?
They're not.
It's like anything.
You know, they don't have moving parts.
But,
So-
but let's say they do, and what we're
I
gonna
mean,
go.
you could, okay, let's say there's a massive hailstorm,
For instance.
or a tornado hits them.
Yeah.
You have insurance that would cover that,
Okay, so insurance.
and we
covers
have a
it.
number in here for insurance.
Good.
So I think that's a great question.
Yeah,
Look
good
at the
question,
numbers.
yeah.
One of the things we can get back is
Who
what
they
a
are and
decommission
whatever.
cost would be for that.
Look, as long as we make money for this town doing this, I'm okay for this. But if we have to come back 2 years and saying, sorry, we just have to cough up another $5 million because
I don't want that. to happen
tornado
more
went
than
to New
you
Milford,
do.
then
Oh,
what?
you live here.
Makes no sense, right?
Right.
So
Yeah.
someone's got to guarantee that we're making money,
Okay,
not
just a quick-
losing money.
Quick question.
I agree.
So you said at the beginning, I know you live here, that you've done a lot of this on other brownfield areas, right?
No.
Oh, you mentioned
No,
something about
just we've done
brownfields.
we've been involved. We're involved in a lot of other solar
Oh,
projects,
okay.
but not brownfield areas.
Oh, when you said brownfield, I thought that's what you meant. So what have you done that's the closest to this type of thing? Because it's just a slab to you. By the time we get to you, it's a slab with a membrane on it, and, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's no different than any other ground mount. I mean, it's a little bit different than a ground mount because we
Right.
have a slab with a membrane, but it's no different than basically a roof mount solar
flat surface.
installation. Yeah, which we've done at universities and in New York State. But we've done them in a lot of different buildings.
How many panels would you say it will take?
For this?
Yeah.
I can get you that number.
I'm
We
just
have
curious.
them laid out, so I could look
Oh,
it
you do?
up. But it's a lot. It's about
Yeah, I'm sure.
the DPW facility. I think the rooftop is about 87,000 square feet.
Is that included in this?
No.
No, it's
Oh, I didn't
another
think-
slide.
oh,
Its
okay,
own.
okay.
It's a different type of project. So
Right, okay.
it
This
works
is
different.
the slab only.
The slab, I think that, I don't remember the square footage of the slab,
worry,
but
I
I
just
think it's
was
about
curious.
140, 130, something like that.
It's 350.
It's 350? It's 350?
350,000 square feet.
Okay.
So if I could. I'd
Yeah,
like
the
to
numbers bear that out if you
email
look at
questions.
the,
So when he comes back.
Absolutely.
We all email questions. about
yeah, it's
what we
double.
have.
It's at least double.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we should.
The bottom line is we have to wait until Jack gets approval on the property anyway.
That's
Yep.
for sure.
And obviously,
that's-
we all have
We
a
have plenty
feeling
of time
that
to
solar
talk
is
to you
what
about
we
it.
want on the property.
Okay, good.
So
What about,
the unfortunate thing is he's got to wait until Jack gets an approval before we can get anything.
what's the
And he
Would
time,
he
would
can
the
get us some
fact
more
that-
numbers.
what's the time frame, Jack, on the building? Let's just say everybody said, okay, let's do it. I know, but,
That needs to get. that needs to
yeah, I
get
know,
funded.
but if it was tomorrow, you woke up and it was approved.
According to the people we talked to, if we had everything lined up, it would take 18 months to build it.
Okay,
The building is pretty interesting, I think, because you're offsetting your if you're offsetting your kilowatt hours, so you get a full you get 16 cents approximately. Because if you're looking at 25 cents versus the cost of maintenance and production on it and everything, the paybacks are a little bit better. You still get the 40. You still going to get the investment tax credit. the rooftop, so I mean, you don't have to do a utility interconnect. You don't have to deal with Eversource. You're coming in behind the meter, so you basically send a load letter to the utility, which I would actually like to do, just to get it moving, and to tell them how much power we require in that building. We've been looking at the programming of that building and coming up with what we think the kilowatt hour usage will be over a 12-month period. Solar there makes a lot of sense.
Does it negate any other power requirement?
Yeah, I think we're going to overproduce a little bit. So if you put the power back on the grid in a behind the meter setup like that, you don't get a lot of money.
Yeah, I know, I understand.
So what we want to do is, if we're overproducing, and we'll have a better idea once we understand the design of the building better, then we're thinking that there are other facilities in that area that we could provide power to from the solar. So we can use as much of it as we can for the town.
Right.
All right.
Good.
So, but any questions y'all have, you can put together a list of questions, send them to Jack maybe, and I'll answer them with him if I can.
So
help.
what we will say now, not to interrupt you, but we're getting asked by this, is that we've heard this and we will continue at another point. Nothing. Yes, there was, but there's no action being taken.
So you're going to withdraw your motion?
Okay.
Yes, I will, when
Just
he's done
discussion.
talking. I mean, we're not done yet, are we?
No, I didn't make a motion.
Did you put something up there? Oh, you did, on the facility. Is there
Oh,
anything else?
that's just the slide on the Public Works facility. It'll produce just right at 62 million kilowatt hours of power. The savings, if we're able to use all of these kilowatt hours, would work out to $335,000 a year in savings, in utility savings, which
Well, savings count.
yeah, savings count, yeah.
That's interesting.
To be fair, the existing DPW facility has very little load. We're assuming one of the things, right? I mean, the load's low, but we're doing other. I think this facility will be predominantly electric, and there was some talk of EV chargers there, which could use up a lot of the load. But that might be a little off topic. That's something.
Yeah, right. I get you. No,
Okay.
I think that's an excellent way to put the power into the buildings. that
After the
ultimately
tax
will be there.
credit, the DPW facility, we projected at 2.16 million.
What?
And
Revenue?
No. That's the cost.
No. And should that slab be eternally in flux, could the building job be just do that and worry about the other one after that? Or is it dependent?
Oh yeah, no, these are two separate projects.
Okay.
Yeah, they're completely independent.
Good.
So any other questions, just email to me and then
I'll answer
come back
them.
and then
I'll help. I mean, if I can
we'll
help,
come
I'll
back at the
answer
next
questions.
time.
Right.
Can we get ROI?
Yep.
Like how you break it down?
Okay, I guess we could base an ROI on if there's no financing. If you're just paying cash, we can tell you.
No, we're going to do the ROI.
Financing
The
is-
financing would be at 4.5%.
Okay, all right, okay.
Right. And
Okay,
as
yeah,
if we were
can
going to
do
be
that.
doing it, as if
Okay,
it was
sure.
happening now.
Yep.
So you had a motion.
All right.
and a second.
To work on that.
There's, Katie, can you withdraw your motion, please?
Yes, I'd like to withdraw the motion
Paul,
that
can
I
you
made.
withdraw your motion? Or Bob?
I didn't
Thank
make a
you,
motion.
We done?
Okay. Awesome. So we'll get
No,
more
thank you.
information on that.
I look forward to discussing it further. I hope you make it happen.
All right.
I wish we could make it happen too. I wish. Okay,
Next.
so let's move on to item 11B, wrong glasses. I'd like to make a motion that we move forward with the New Milford Cannabis moratorium.
Second.
So
Bob?
the moratorium has expired for New Milford for retail sales of cannabis. I do have, this is for discussion, obviously, would be up to the council to decide they wanted to continue the moratorium. I do have a letter from Chief Ceruto saying, Mayor Bass, the Connecticut General Assembly has passed legislation that legalizes adult use of cannabis in the state of Connecticut. The law also contains provisions allowing municipalities to prohibit, allow, or place reasonable restrictions on cannabis establishments. I support a moratorium. In my opinion, a moratorium will allow the town more time to consider the options, study other outcomes, and allow for public input on this topic. The town will then be in a better position to act. In law enforcement, we see the effects of smoking, vaping, drinking, and use of drugs, legal and illegal. We enforce the laws, but also appreciate a methodical, considerate approach to the process that provides for that. I would like to make a recommendation to the council that obviously we should get public input, maybe schedule in June a public meeting where we can get the input from the public on cannabis and the use. I know also Jason from the youth agency came once before and talked about youth and cannabis, and I think that'd be a great step in us deciding how we want to move forward with either a moratorium or allow the sale of retail cannabis.
Approximately how much time has gone by from the first time we talked about this? When it
Been a
first...
year and I think 6 months, something
Yeah,
like
about
that.
a year and a half, so people are more familiar with.
I think we can get some data and some evidence from other towns that have have legalized it, kind of what they've thought and what's been beneficial and non-beneficial for that.
Yeah, I think that's
which we can provide.
Idea. Yeah, but I think a town meeting's a great idea.
That's what we said, actually. At the
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep. So what I'd like to do with permission from the council is at the next meeting, we set a public meeting, but at least I can provide the data before that to the council and then ask Jason and then Chief and everybody else.
Okay, so was there a date or something that was a mandate that we needed to make the decision?
No, I think that it's on the record that we're deciding what we're going to do, especially if those that are interested in pursuing it know that you are looking at whether we're going to continue with the moratorium or allow.
So my question is, should we? I said my motion was to continue with it. So do you want to leave it or you want to remove it? Withdraw and start over?
Well, I think we, at the very beginning, when we did the moratorium, when we were going to come out of a moratorium, would allow for public input on it and providing the data of other towns and what they've experienced with this, whether it be Danbury, Waterbury, some of the other towns.
First, I remember the moratorium is not to have stores that sell it.
Correct. Currently now in New Milford, you can grow marijuana and you can also distribute it. You cannot retailly sell it. So those are the allowable uses.
Would our motion be more that until we have our next meeting and conversation that we would just continue as is?
I'd say we continue as is and then hold at our next town council meeting, have the data provided to the council, and then you can make the decision. So if there's no
edict in time, I can just withdraw my motion.
Correct.
And everything stays. So I'd like to withdraw my motion.
Okay.
And he said same. Yep.
All right.
Thank you.
Very good.
You were drawing
Mr. Mayor?
Hold on, you were drawing your second.
Mayor?
Yeah. Right?
I move to adjourn.
All in favor of the withdrawal?
Okay.
Yeah, let's go.
All right. We have a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Good move.
Thank you, everyone.
Good move, Mr. Gilmore.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.